In a world filled with things on the internet, two men, one podcast, two pores.
Look, man, I think that the best thing about this is the fact that on a beautiful Sunday, Labor Day weekend,
That's right.
we get to sit down, we get to have a glass of some bourbon, pour some bourbon. I want you to tell me about this bourbon.
Of course I will.
But either one of us have partaken in this sultry
No. This is a new one for us.
Right? So I think we need to have a taste real quick.
Yeah.
And then, before you do housekeeping,
Yeah.
tell it. I just want to know about the bottle.
Get a taste real quick.
Yeah, let's go.
Let's do it. Fuck
Let's
it.
have some bourbon, right?
Cheers to you, bro.
Cheers.
I don't know, a little licorice or something.
Yeah.
A little licorice.
Yeah. It's like somebody fell over in the barrel while making it. No offense.
Is that a size 11 Timberland?
Yeah.
Baby?
Tastes like Mint Hill muddy baseball field chalk.
Is that Carolina beach water right there?
Is this safe to drink?
All right.
I guess it'll get safer the more that we go.
Yeah,
but
probably.
I'll say that this
is what happens when you have 7 pregame pours.
I think this is got way too much alcohol in it. Way too I didn't feel it finished. I don't have I can't discern any favorable note.
It's kind of a shock.
Yeah.
Shock to you. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and it's going to be funny once we go into some of the details on this, that right there is a little bit of a disappointment.
Right.
All right. Anyways, welcome. Thank you for joining us here on this lovely Sunday day, as Jimmy was letting us in on. Beautiful Carolina blue skies in Indian Trail, North Carolina.
Speaking of Carolina Blue, didn't they have a...
Well, that's part of my shout-outs.
Oh, my bad.
He's
Okay.
stealing my thunder. He's stealing my thunder. Let me get to that here in a second. So today, we definitely wanted to give some shout-outs, but first, Spotify, YouTube, Two Poor Podcasts. Thank you for the support. Thank you for everything that you guys, do for us and the feedback, because it's important. You know what I mean? We want to know, what people want to hear, what people want to, listen to, what people are interested in, and also that they're liking it and learning from it or getting something from it. And it seems like every week we get messages saying, "Hey, man, I like the podcast."
We get good support. We've got a great support
network, absolutely,
for sure.
And at the same time, I mean, if there's something like, "Hey, man, like I didn't like the way you did this," well, shit, tell us.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're grown men. We got thick skin.
We could take it, man.
If there's something if there's something we need to do better, hell, we're trying to learn and get better every day. And that's just in life in general.
Come on.
But so today, the bourbon of the episode is Very Old Barton, which I first think of Bart Lattimore. So shout out to Bart Lattimore at Old North State.
That's my guy.
Which is so Bart, if you're listening, and I know you probably are, one of the friends I ran into yesterday at the South Carolina Battle for the Carolina Border football game at Bank of America Stadium. She told me that she listened to the episode with Bart on here. And she was like, I started listening to his music from the episode.
Right there.
And she was like, they're awesome.
Yeah.
So you got a new fan. But Very Old Barton, and this is under the Sazerac label, which we've talked about, and there's a lot of brands under the Sazerac label. But,
over 200, right?
Yeah, and at the same time, and the ones that we've tried, we really, really like.
Yeah.
And it's produced in Bardstown, Kentucky. Which we talked about on the last episode.
Yeah, Bardstown's that shit.
I know,
like
and I read in 2 articles where they're saying Bardstown is kind of the bourbon capital of America, which I didn't know, but definitely had a lot of fun in Bardstown shopping. And I got this bottle in Bardstown.
There you go. Okay.
And, and I haven't seen it on the shelf in North Carolina. And my buddy Terry, of course, fan of the show.
Shout out to Terry.
Shout out to Terry, who's in Greenville. He sees it on the shelves pretty regularly in South Carolina.
Okay.
But he's like, hey, man, I really like it. This could be kind of one of those budget bottle gems.
Sure.
Some people feel
to some people, right?
Yeah, because MSRP on this one's $14.
$14.
$14.
So it's in that benchmark.
Oh yes,
place
exactly
in that benchmark radius,
and that's what seeing. And we talk about things, right? You pay for what you get,
right,
kind of. And we think about bourbon being $14, and you're automatically thinking,
yeah,
this isn't going to be. This is
exactly what you're getting for $14.
You're getting some.
I mean,
some
and to be fair, the out of all the bottles that we've tried, and that we. It doesn't have a beginning or an end. It just has a lot of alcohol.
It's almost not as refined.
And what proof is it?
80.
So it's right in my wheelhouse.
I know, and that's kind of what I wanted to surprise you with, that this is 80 proof, but there wasn't the smoothness. And maybe okay. And one thing I will say is this one right here, they say it's aged at least 36 months, but typical is 4 to 6. Now, some of the ones that we've tried have been like an Eagle Rare, which is a minimum 10 years.
Right.
You get a lot much smoother finish, right? And then you get those notes, and you can distinguish and differentiate.
And I couldn't discern
it was
any.
It was just like a shock.
And this is no down play or no. We're not trying to shit on the name of Barry Old Barton.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But and the second sip is always different than the first, right? So let's see.
See if we get something different.
Not
really.
No, it stings the nostrils. It
stings the nostrils.
It's like the way I guess I could put this. It's like it has the tendency, like it's like, all right, it's almost there. Like right now, that I didn't get it off the first sip. Right now, I got some sweet. Notes at the end, but again, it's not like, oh, it's sweet like vanilla or sweet like caramel or It's just got a very mild finish.
A hint. The funny thing is, the only thing I can equate it to is like drinking like a White Claw. Where
like any real man would do,
where there's like a tad bit of flavor, in like a whole. It's like you dropped a little bit of squeezes of lime juice in a fish tank.
Yeah.
So you get a little bit, but not the refined, overflowing finish.
And I think in any bottle, in any time that you have pours, you get 1 pour, 2 pours, or you put ice in it, you put whatever. This is the kind of bottle that, I mean, maybe when we throw a couple cubes in the next
maybe it'll
soften it. But it also this is the way bourbon is. You have the first pour, couple sips, and then it kind of goes away. You kind of get you almost get like immune to it, to where you're not tasting it. Again, and it's always about that first couple tastes, right?
That's it.
And then being able to really identify and isolate. That bottle is probably the most difficult I've had yet to isolate anything other than the overwhelming finish of alcohol.
Yeah, and that's the right word, alcohol. Right. That's what it feels like.
I don't know if that's where the spice comes from when bourbon enthusiasts say it's got a lot of spice, so a lot of heat to it, a lot of whatever. That has like a very mild amount of spice, but of overwhelming amount of alcohol taste, which I'm not fond of.
And I'm just wondering if that is something that would age twice the amount of time.
Right.
If it would have gotten better. Out. But then again, for the price,
well, I mean, that's what they're doing. Like
you got to cut corners somewhere.
It's benchmark. Like I went over to my brother-in-law's place a few months back, and I bought a bottle of Benchmark.
Yeah,
and he's like, I didn't say what it was, didn't say what it cost. I just poured him a glass of it.
Yeah,
and I'm like looking at him. I'm like, yeah, man, cheers, man.
Yeah.
And I'm like just
like
stage 5 stalker. And he drinks it. I'm like that. Walks around for a minute, and like everywhere he's going, I'm like, all right, let's take a second sip. And he's what's this called? I was like, it's Benchmark. It costs $13. And like but luckily he wasn't like, oh yeah, this is shit. No, we both were like, man, this tastes really good. It has a lot of the hints of Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
Which again, the thing I love about, when you bring these bottles out, this is not a budget bottle.
Yeah.
This is, I got $40. I'm going to get a little bit of crack and a fifth of, I got enough money
Yeah, I know. This
to
is
get
it. Yeah,
that.
yeah.
That's what like the comedic side of it is.
Yeah.
But really, and truly, I don't feel embarrassed buying it when you're in line and they're like, all right, that's going to be $13.87.
Yeah.
And like you know, God forbid you got one of these douchebags in line. They're like, I don't care. I'm not buying this for anybody else but myself.
That's
right?
such a great point you just made, because this isn't like you're buying a $10 bottle of vodka.
Right.
You know, if you came up to the counter with this bottle, it has a very good name.
Right.
I mean, this bourbon has been made the same way for over 100 years.
Right. There's something to be said about that.
Hence,
very old Barton. Yeah.
And it's a little bit harder to get in certain areas. Like, I've never seen it on the shelf in North Carolina.
No, I don't think I have
You know,
either.
and where I've, locally.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you found it, it's like, oh, wow. Okay. So that's a good thing. And they have 4 different versions of this too. They have an 80, they have an 86, they have a 90, they have a 100. And in 2011, it was named Best Whiskey of the Year.
That's madness for me. Like,
For the price, like the whole. Like,
that's what I was about to ask. So what's the variable there?
Price context.
Yeah. Going
with
up
the
against
quality.
Eagle Rare and
No.
Blood Oath.
And I would say for the
Colonel.
the E.H. Taylor, it's back there.
Yeah.
It's hovering. It's just back there waiting to step up to the spotlight.
hovering.
It's like,
Right.
hey, pick me.
Right.
But out of the ones that we've had, and you can see all of them are empty. I wonder why.
I don't know how that happened.
I don't know how that happened. Because they weren't on the last episode. There was stuff left in each one of
It
us.
happened in one night.
Yeah. Well, when we act like teenagers one Saturday night, that's what happens. But this right here would probably be the lowest ranked for me.
For sure. It's below a 5 for me, just on the, like, one thing, if we're just talking about minor details, right? It's got a twist off cap, right? Versus
good point.
little cork popping off, right?
Yeah.
So some folks like myself, I like to drink red wine, and I don't get it twisted. I'll drink a Boda box and press press a button, right?
Well, yeah.
Right, but a good bottle of wine, you pop the cork.
Oh, of course.
There's
And that sound,
something.
you
There's
just
there's
know.
a
It's
thing to it.
nostalgic, yeah.
And then there's times where you'll buy, but I think I was like Mark West or something and Pinot Noir and get home and I'm about to go pop the cork and I was like, oh, twist. Fuck, it's got a cap on it.
Was
right?
it a Pepsi?
Yeah. But the reality of it is though, it was good. I mean, it was
and
it
that's
wasn't
the thing.
bad.
And we've talked about this. We're not bourbon snobs.
No.
So, and everybody's got their own palate. You know what I mean? So if this right here, I don't care if it's $14 or $140. If it's good, it's good.
Right.
And I think that this one has some things that are not as necessarily good as some of the other
It's kind of like when we were at Southern Spirits doing that tasting, and I didn't pay attention par for the course.
when it said single malt. Yeah. So
and
you're
I
expecting a whole different world.
and I took a sip of it, and then I looked at you. I was like, "Oh, it just tastes like Scotch," and you were like, "That's because it is Scotch, Jimmy." You know? But that's the thing.
Yeah.
The Scotch drinkers. Right.
Yeah.
My grandfather, God rest his soul, my Uncle Bill, love him to death. He's an amazing man. Love him so much. He's a Scotch drinker.
Yeah.
There's a palate for that. It's not mine.
Absolutely.
It's not mine.
And you have to. I feel like bourbon is a lot more forgiving to the palate,
Right.
For the average person to
Right.
try, and I feel like that's another reason why bourbon is such a fad right now,
Right.
Is because it's a little bit easier to find your space and to find what you like
to live in it. Yeah.
But Scotch will turn anybody off until you get your palate adjusted to it.
Until you understand it too, because
Yes, absolutely.
if I would have known that day at Southern Spirit, shout out to those guys, by the way. It's a great place, Lancaster, right?
Yeah, in Lancaster. We had fun. when we went
Indian
there.
Land, Indian Land.
Is it Indian Land?
It's
I know
Indian
it's
Land.
right across the
It's on
border. I
South
just don't-
Boulevard, whatever.
Yeah.
Great guys that work there, and they have a podcast as well that they do. They
Still trying to see that studio.
let's go. So I would have still had the same reaction as I did,
Yeah.
unbeknownst before. I still would have been like, ugh. Because I can't do it. And
harsh.
you said the other night when we were chilling, you were like, yeah, man, but there's this bottle. And this bottle is, I don't know if you said Macallan or whatever it was.
Glenmorangie.
Oh my God. man, you can't sway me.
I got you.
However,
Okay.
in the same day,
Yeah.
what else did we try? That I said that I would never drink again. That
the
you said,
gin.
and I said through my friends Mickey and Jimmy Glass. Shout out to you guys. I love these folks. They went out with Jason and Jen Merrill. The Basses love the Merrills.
Yeah.
Right? They're great people.
I've heard good things.
Great people. So Ashley and I were over there at some function, and they went to Europe. They ended up at I think they were in Scotland, and they were doing gin tastings, and they ended
They
up
said France.
I don't fucking know. They were in like 12 different places. But wherever they were, I don't think France, but wherever they were, gin ended up being their drink for the whole trip, I think.
Okay.
So they had a couple of bottles in there, and I was telling them about the nightmare that we both had on it.
Seagram's.
20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And he goes and makes me, I don't know, it's like grapefruit gin with like soda water, whatever it was.
Yep.
And it was delicious. It was amazing, right?
Now, what did she mix the gin with?
I
It
think
was it tonic water.
I think maybe
A little bit of
tonic water, maybe something like that, maybe a piece of fruit in it, whatever it was. But I had the grapefruit gin with him, and then I had a clear one or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But that's why when we went in there, and it's funny that I'm sitting here, shitting on scotch
Mm-hmm.
when you tasted that gin with that they had that lemon soda water or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was, again, refreshing.
It was. That's a good word. It
refreshing.
Absolutely. I could see myself at the pool. And you were telling the story about being at the pool. I could see
goodness.
It was refreshing. It was good.
It was amazing.
It was good. I couldn't hate on it.
But I don't think that anybody's ever going to be able to sway me with scotch. I don't. It's got such a unique and very earthy.
It is earthy because it's a peat moss, tons of, and it's one of those things that when you go to Scotland, you can. It's almost like it's downloaded. Like the Matrix, you're Neo. I know Kung Fu now. When you go there, you understand because it's so there's so much rain there. It's like being in the Pacific Northwest. There's a shitload of rain.
Right.
Everything's super green and like nature just. It's almost like it's
jungle.
highlighted. It's almost like everything stands out in nature. And I will say this: I was never a Scotch fan. A mentor and kind of a father figure for a long time was a huge Scotch drinker. And he'd get me to try different scotches. And even we used to hang out at the Pizza Peel in Cotswold, which was a kind of our bar for the people who work there.
Let's go.
We'd go there once a week.
I met you up there a couple times, I think.
Yeah, I know you have. And so there was one guy who used to hang out, and that's where Mike Taylor, shout out to Mike Taylor, that's where I met him. He was a regular there.
Mike Taylor's a legend.
That's all right. And so there was a guy up there we called Dr. Rob because he was a doctor. His name was Rob. And
I got to tell you something. You just blew my mind. Continue on.
And that's right. And he was a Scotch drinker, and he would always get me to try. He was like, "Hey, all right, so try this, see what you think." And it got to the point to where I would try it on a regular basis. And it's almost like you start adapting. And once you do that, then you open up to where like, okay, this is a good Scotch. This one isn't necessarily for me. And, the most recent ex was a Scotch drinker. I know every time. I know. Go ahead. But so I, we would surprise each other with good bottles. And one of the bottles I surprised her with was a Glenmorangie 18-year. And it was a pricey bottle, but I did a lot of research and I was hoping that I got it right. And let me tell you,
you got it right.
It was good. It was super good. And I can't. That's right.
All right. Sorry.
I can be that boyfriend for you too. But anyways,
he's going on 49, still looking for a mate.
Not to hit 50. About to hit 50.
No.
I need to.
No, we got some years to that.
Down.
You when you think about the essence of bourbon, right? Or the essence of these, when we were, 16, 17, 18, drinking OE and St. Ides and, fucking Mickey's,
King Cobra.
God bless, right? Colt 40, Colt 45.
Double malt.
God,
Colt 45.
I mean, I'm talking about absolute, go ahead and get them off.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, we thought it was the bee's knees. I remember a friend of mine.
I don't think we ever thought that. I think we were just trying to get drunk.
But we thought it back then because that's all we know, right?
Yeah,
that's all we knew then. So a friend of mine, great friend growing up, Nathan True.
My bad.
Nathan True. Shout out to Nathan True, John True. it was my 16th birthday, and he comes up and he said, "It's this paper bag, bottle in a paper bag," hands it to me, "Happy birthday."
Yeah.
Open it up, take a sip of it. I put it in my back pocket. Right. We're walking around the neighborhood as we did back then. Right.
Yeah.
We end up going, I don't know, we went to somebody's house for a little while. You end up in 10 different places.
Yeah.
And I'm drinking this stuff. And I think I'm 43 at least.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I'm like, God. And he looked at me and it's like $10 it's for $8. It was Thunderbird.
That's the word.
And it was one of those things where it was an experience, right? Sometimes when we look at these bottles, this very old Barton's, the experience of it is this podcast that we're doing, right? Or this conversation we're having.
Absolutely.
I don't think after this we'll ever want to drink that, right?
Probably not.
But all of these, they have stories behind them, just like the stories of how they were made or how they're created.
Hold on now. Hold on now. You said stories.
Stories.
Now, are you coming around to my way of thinking that you're starting to like the stories? I get excited. I get excited here.
Listen, folks, it's something that happens.
I feel like I'm winning you over.
Right? It's something that happens, right? And then so you get these stories, right? So I'll forever have the Nightmare Gin story of Lake Wylie or wherever we were, right?
Baden Lake,
right?
Yes.
But I'll always have the heroic, life-changing story of being at the Merrills with the Mickey and Jimmy Glass and opening my mind like, oh my God, it's great stuff, and not drinking it. This is another thing that I like about having a bourbon podcast or talking about alcohol at all. There's times where it's like, man, let's throw some shit back and get wild and right.
Yeah.
You know what? It's few and far between. It's more like, hey man, let's get up, let's go to the pool, let's have some drinks, let's enjoy, let's have good conversations. People,
absolutely.
A friend of the Merrills, last night I left and I went home to go and take my dog out and do whatever and change my clothes. We had been in the pool all day and get back and all the guys that were there, their heads were shaved. I walked outside and Jason Merrill walks up and I'm like, and I had this because he's like kind of walked up to me like normal and I'm like, hey, what's Jason?
Yeah.
Well, their very good friend, Mark, he's got cancer, right? And they decided that they were all gonna, because he started going through chemo
for support and everything.
And I apologize if I'm putting your information out like this because I don't know him very well.
Props to them though for support.
It was
of a fellow brother.
The most beautiful thing that I saw because these are people that I'm just starting to get to know and some of them I like them a lot. They're great people, and they all did that band of brothers kind of thing, kind of like, hey man. It'll
absolutely.
Hey, I'm doing this for you, and I really wanted to do it last night, but I don't know the fella as much as they do, and that's not a poor excuse or whatever. I just
you didn't feel like it was your place,
right? But all of that surrounding, we're having some drinks, we're at the pool, we're not. We're out having drinks, doing drugs, acting out of order, acting out of pocket, not being,
I knew you were going there.
Not being, your
exactly.
age. Like I mean, here's the one thing that I love about being grown and finding new things. Right, is that the whole premise behind the Two Pour podcast is like we can have 2 pours of whatever bourbon.
And you said it right, a gentleman's thing.
It's a gentleman thing. Hey man, we're gonna have 2 pours, have some conversations, and we're gonna bounce and go home.
Ain't no our business.
I don't ever want you, and you would never do this to me. I don't want you driving in your car on 3, 4, 5 bourbons, right?
Yeah.
So with this group, we all kind of live in the same neighborhood. So it's a little different.
It's easier,
right?
yeah.
But there's always, you always got to have the people that are looking out for. Like, hey man, tonight's your night to have a good night. I'm gonna drive, kind of thing, and I think that's positive.
It's the support and the respect. You know what I mean? And we've been in situations where we haven't seen that before in life. Right? We've been at parties where people have left,
fucking falling down.
People have gotten hurt.
People have died. God bless Angie. I will never forget that. deal in my life.
And you know, it's one of those where you say, hey, and we've always been that way, right? We've always been the very protective, even before we were dads.
Right.
We've always been very protective of, hey, like, are you guys good? Like, for real good.
Right.
You know, and I know that we've both jumped in there and taken people's keys. Like,
Right.
hey, no, you're not good. You know, and
it was
gotta look out for each other.
When it's a moment like that, like we left, it was D Shorty and I, we left a get together and we were having some issues with a couple of guys that kind of tried to be tough guys. And we're like, look, like I could, if I went into a further detail of it, it would be wrong of me to do.
Yeah.
But it was very much, hey, if we don't leave, it's going to be, you know what I'm saying? It's going to be ugly.
Yeah, gotcha.
So we left out of respect of them that, you know, Angie and her friend and we left and then came back because we were like, fuck it, let's go back there and bust them down, like do whatever we got to do. And then you go home and then you wake up the next day and this is early in our life, right? There's no Facebook. There's no instant gratification, right?
There's no social media.
And then you get a phone call. Hey man, did you hear what happened last night? No, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, well, they ended up leaving the apartment, doing whatever, driving, pulled out on a road, got hit by a truck. Angie flew out of the car. One of the guys that were in the car with Angie got out, ran over, tried to administer, you know, CPR, like life-changing shit. Like that kid, I haven't seen that dude since that happened because, you know what I'm saying? He's a great guy.
Yeah.
But that'll never leave his memory, right?
Never.
And then being at her, and not to go too deep on this, but that's why we're here, but being at her funeral, her mom, I think they were Persian or, so she had a bit of an accent. She turned around in the middle of the ceremony or whatever, the service at the actual cemetery.
Yeah.
And she screamed, she was like, this is why you can't just hang out. You can't just hang out all the time. This is what happens when, and it gave me the chills, and it gives me the chills right now.
Dang, that's deep.
And what it is though, and I'm not blaming, I'll always have some blame with myself on this. You know, it's doing too much. It's partying too hard. It's doing whatever that gets you to a point of no return, if you will.
Yeah. And I think, and I don't want to jump in, but I do want to say, I think I know where you're going.
Right.
And one of the things that we started when we talked about doing this podcast was you and I have always been busy. We've had so much to do in life, and we've always been brothers. We've always been family, and I love you to death.
Likewise.
And, you know, we looked at each other and you said, maybe we need to start being intentional with our time.
Right.
Instead of making excuses, instead of letting things come up, is making sure we can take time to hang out like we did. You know,
had a great night. I mean,
it was much needed because we, you know, a lot of the times we've talked over the past few months, it's been about this and, you know, and where we're going and this and that. So it's, if you're going to hang out, if you're going to go do things, it's got to be intentional.
Yeah.
If you feel like you have enough time where every night of the week you can go out and drink for 2 to 3 hours, you aren't doing enough productive things in your life.
No.
And I think all of this, everything that we talked about in the last 20 minutes is going to tie into what we're talking about on the episode today.
Agreed. And there's something I just want to put this one in, and I don't know who it is, some motivational speaker, but he said, if you live for the weekends, if you go to work and live for the weekends, you're missing everything. You're missing the whole point. Yeah. Right. Meaning, if you're only working as hard as you're working to go blow it all on the weekend,
that 2-day span,
and guess what, man? I'm guilty of it more than I'm not. Right.
Yeah.
I'm guilty of it by going out, having too much fun, getting way past the level you should be at, and then spending a whole day convalescing, trying to nurse yourself back when you missed a whole entire day of chill time, which sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's
every once in a while,
but to live for it all the time, to do it, man,
just to go back to a 5-day grind.
Yeah, that's wild to me. But go ahead, man. Continue on.
All right. So, I mean, we've been all over the place. So let me kind of reverse a little bit and let's give some shout outs real quick. And I want to kind of tie this in. For me, I want to give a quick shout out to the UNC Tar Heels last night, getting that big win over the Lamecocks of the fake USC. USC's in California. Y'all
Just
are
so
South
you know.
Carolina, in the armpit of the world, Columbia, South Carolina. Shout out to people in Columbia, though, But, hey, man, USC, South Carolina is a very passionate fan base, and we saw a lot of that and a lot of ignorance, too.
A lot of cocks.
A lot of lame cocks out there, I tell you that. And they left with their tails between their legs. But Carolina,
Fully inverted cocks. Sorry.
they had Audis. Now they have Innies, But North
quite
Carolina,
embarrassing.
North Carolina, the real North Carolina, gets the 2-touchdown win last night. And the only thing I would really say is, like, if you go out there on a perfect day, like it is today, as we can see the sky from where we're at,
Come on.
it's Carolina blue, and realize it's always above you. So there we go, 2-touchdown win. Shout out to my Tar Heels. Also want to give a shout out to the Porter Ridge Pirates high school. They're now 3-0.
Let's go.
Thanks to the 38-22 win over Hickory Ridge. So Porter Ridge, Hickory Ridge, battle for the Ridge, battle for Carolina. We held the line. We took the Ridge. We were taking the stakes.
Hold the line.
That's what I was yelling at yesterday, boy. I was yelling at so much yesterday. I love it. But Porter Ridge Pirates, shout out to Christian Bridwell with the 36-yard field goal.
Barely.
Who hit that to,
Barely.
It was
Him and I had a talk about it. He wasn't happy about it. But old
was
Uncle
not.
Jim, old
He was
Uncle
not.
Jim's not always going to pat you on the back, Bubba.
That's right. I mean, hey, you got to tell him what he needs to hear. And I'm a little disappointed that he didn't come back with, hey, it went over.
Right.
It went through. That's all it needs to be.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
he'll get better.
He was
He'll get-
he was a little fractured.
Hey man, but you keep him honest though. You keep him
my guy.
honest. You keep him honest.
It's been
with
my
the
guy. It's been my guy from
critiques,
day one.
You're
It's my
trying
guy.
to. You're helping him change his mindset.
Come on. The guy works harder than anybody I've ever seen.
I mean,
right?
he's doing well, but he had the field goal.
Let's go.
He had a good punt from the back of the end zone, which is a lot of pressure.
Did he have to do like a Van Damme kind of punt?
Oh, it was a bad snap too. So he
Bad
had
snap.
a half leg extension.
Whenever
like,
he
you know, had to
did
get it
do
off.
the Van Damme Bloodsport punt, did he do the that Van Damme does?
He did it
whenever
where sweat just went off the helmet and everything like that. So it's pretty good. But so shout out to Porter Ridge
Shout out.
going 3-0.
Let's go.
West Cabarrus on the road this coming week. Hope to go 4-0. Also, 2 shout outs to Nina, and we're going to leave last names off, but to Nina and Lindsay. Lindsay, who I got a chance to see yesterday and tailgate with. Thank you. It was always great to see you.
Come on.
And Nina, who I have not seen or really talked to in like 2 decades.
Wow.
She reached out. Both of them said they liked the podcast. Of course, Lindsay said she likes Bart from listening to the podcast. And both of them said, hey, I mean, I really like the podcast. I'm listening to them, and maybe gave us some contacts to talk to people about maybe future guests.
So we got some.
Hopefully we can do that. I'm not going to give any details on that, but both of them, thank you so much. I mean, honestly, man, we're doing this because we love doing it.
Right.
But to get the feedback that somebody else likes it, it's pretty cool.
It's cool. And I want to give a shout out to Steve. Steve hit me up. He's East Side all day, every day.
Yeah.
And he hit me up last week, and he's working on an EP with Blake Ill Use from Mr. Invisible. He's one of the most phenomenal producers ever. I mean, he is a whiz, and he's dope all the way around.
Yeah.
But Steve hit me up. He's got an album that he's working on. Asked me to work with him. I'm very much looking forward to jumping back in there and knocking that out. And a big shout out to DJ Wisdom. Him and I are decided to put together like a 5-6 piece deal.
Nice.
And so we're working on that, and it's fun. Again, it's intentional, but it's not like, all right, I'm going to take time away from family time or important times. I'm fitting it in
as we can work it in.
I'm fitting it in where it is, but they do these. I think it's Gene Brown Beatdown or whatever. They do it quite often in Charlotte.
Okay.
And he organizes and facilitates getting producers, high level producers. We're not talking about. And guess what? Local producers are high level to me. I think.
Yeah.
But we're talking about getting Ski Beats in there, getting. I think. I don't want to butcher this, but he's gotten some of the best producers on the planet in one room, and they're playing their beats and battling. And there's one viral video that they did, and it's I think a Busta Rhymes song or something, but they did it at the Blumenthal Theater. And the fact that it was in Charlotte, and the fact that I got to see so many faces in this video that I know growing up doing music and respecting these guys, that the video went viral, mega viral, because when the beat hit, everybody in the whole entire place went fucking nuts. and it was just it was awesome. But then another shout out to Scott Slagle. If you do music and you're serious about it, because he's a holding punches. When I mean, you're coming in, you're paying for a service, and he provides that or whatever. But if you do ask him a question, just be prepared for the answer, because it's not always what you want to hear, and that's not a bad thing.
That's much needed.
He's a pioneer. He's he's a I think organizer. I think a facilitator, and obviously a guy that can take what you write and you do and record it and make it sound unreal. But he's amazing. Look him up. And then, obviously just shout out to the family, to the families, to the people that we love and that support us, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me about your plan of action here. You got some actionable items you want to go over.
It's so funny. It's so funny. So we set out today to record at a certain time today, and we didn't record because there was some miscommunication, right?
Right.
And it was some miscommunication, so we didn't all link up at the same time. And this is the funniest part about like life in general.
Right.
And I feel like this is exactly what we're talking about today.
Correct.
Now, a younger you, a younger me would have been upset. Now, we would have been upset for two reasons. One, all the communication wasn't in part. Right. It wasn't on point. We didn't have a firm commitment from everybody involved.
Got it.
Okay. So we would have been mad at ourselves because of all of that. The second thing about it is we would have been mad at somebody for showing up late.
Right.
Right. We would have been. But this is where changing your mindset comes in. What happened in that time period that we were waiting on somebody to show up, and we could have just sat around and said, man, fuck that. You know what I mean? Like
Shout out to Sean.
Yeah.
Right.
No, but what happened was, and I'm honestly, I'm thankful for it. Because what happened in between, we had some great conversations, dialogue, we, some other future plans in place because of it. We had like 7 pre-pours, you know what I mean? So, I mean, it was
maybe 5.
4 actually. But so all that was really good, but we came up with this topic, and we've had it on the list for a while about changing your mindset.
Right.
And the funny thing about that is every time I think about it, I think I go down a different road.
Okay.
And it's very, very important for me, I know, in life to realize what I do, why do I do it, the reasoning behind it, and how is my mental outlook on all of those things combined.
How's it benefiting you?
Exactly. And the thing about it is if we're not in a positive mindset, it affects everything else. It affects physical, it affects just emotional.
1,000%. If you think negative, if you think everything's falling apart, if you think all these things, it is.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
That's exactly right. And it's funny you said that, because I got a little quote, later on. I feel like that's gonna go to that. But my big thing that I thought about is the overwhelming intensity that it hits me of where we are as a civilization today, and how far we are trapped in this machine that dictates every aspect of our lives, unbeknownst to us. Or I know somebody's going to hear that and they're going to say, "No, I know, I'm aware." And it's almost like when you realize the trick of the magician, they still try to sell you on something else, when in reality you figured it out.
Yeah.
So just like when you realize what they're doing, they come up with a word like woke. Right. No. Woke is the fictitious form of being awake. Right. You know what I mean? So no, you're not awake. You're on the right track, and now they're trying to distract you. Go past that. Stop the labeling, right? So I wanted to go back. I might piss some people off today.
I got to tell you something. I'm a fan of it. As long as I'll give you cheers to that, mate. Right?
Yeah, I might.
I think that, and I might piss people off saying his name. Jordan Peterson said something about, are you worried about offending people? Yeah. And he was like, you can't have and I'm butchering what he said here, but he said you can't really have a conversation or be open to having a conversation without, having that come up, without offending people. Yeah. You should offend people.
And the thing about it is,
you should offend people. I think you should offend people as much as possible
every day. No, the thing about it is, and I say that, I know this might piss some people off, but some of these topics that I want to bring up, they might not be 100% your viewpoint. They might not even be 100% my viewpoint, but I want to bring it to the table so you can dissect it.
Right.
You know, and then you can give your thoughts to it.
Well, it's important to do that. Any one-sided kind of mentality, any one-sided kind of deal where you compartmentalize everything in the way that it should be this way, if it's not this way.
Yeah.
That's not the kind of people I want to be around.
Well, and you've lost.
My main thing, my best deal to respond with. Mm-hmm. When somebody says something and I go, why? Why?
Yeah,
And
good point.
And you remember when your kids were, what's that? It's this is a front door. Why? Well, because you got to open it. Why?
Yeah.
Now listen, this is a baby that has no idea what the shit's going on.
Yeah.
But it's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, right? Now, it's funny to me that most grown-ups and a lot of different variables, most grown-ups can't answer why. They can tell you everything. They can regurgitate.
So do you really believe it?
Right? Dude, it doesn't for me, I don't believe most people. I don't believe most people because I feel like everybody's so dependent on the spotlight or on the likes or on or trying to take over a conversation, trying to take over the conversation. Or look at my big ass wheels on my car. And listen, dude, if all you want to talk about are those things, I can tell you're full of shit, dude.
Yeah.
I pull up. Like I pull up people's pages sometimes because I haven't seen them in a while. They might come up and I'll look and I'm like, look at this. I don't see one picture of themselves. I don't see, all I see is pictures of their kids or I see pictures of like cool quotes or cool videos or funny stuff.
Yeah.
And then there might be the other ones that don't change their mindset on anything. And every single thing that they are showing is showing why I'm better than you. Look at my car.
Or all they post is one political belief and that kind of, something like that. Okay. And so this is all right. Partly I want to say this to an extent, it's not their fault. Saying it to an extent, it's not their fault because they've been programmed to be that way.
That's bullshit.
Hold up now. This is they've been programmed to be this way. Now, I was always told if you're doing a job, right? Say you're a manager and one of your employees is doing a job a certain way. It's either because they don't know how to, if they're not doing it right, it's either because they don't know or they don't care.
Right.
Now, once they know and then they do it that same way, it's because they don't care.
Right.
So it's partly not their fault because they've been programmed to be that way. Now, after listening to what I'm going to tell you and what you're going to say, and they still do it a certain way or don't adapt or don't realize, it's your fault.
Right.
It's your fault.
Right.
So Albert Einstein said, I don't know what weapons World War III will be fought with.
Okay.
But World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones.
Meaning we're just going to blow ourselves up to
we're
oblivion.
going to destroy.
Yeah.
And this is somebody who is super intelligent. Of course, we all know.
Who, Einstein? The smart?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, he was. I mean, I don't know if
I thought they always said he had a great jump shot.
into a peach basket. You know what I mean? But so super smart individual. And I want to go a little bit different than that. It looks like we could be headed for a lot of crazy shit, you know what I mean, in the next 10, 20 years. Technology, America, the way we're crumbling from within, that kind of stuff. And I don't honestly think there's any country out there in the world who could take America over.
No, but I think that there are several of them that could band together and do so.
Or could provide a threat, yes.
And the problem with civilians, right, with people like us, where we do our research, we go down a rabbit hole or whatever, and we find out all this stuff and you find it to be true. I mean, these things really happen, right?
Yeah.
The one thing that still remains true is that people make things happen. People push the buttons. Guns don't kill people. People kill people, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All this kind of stuff, right? So right now we have the worst president on the planet that you could put into office.
True story.
And it was just for us that don't know, we don't know. We speculate, right?
Yeah.
Did he get in there because he won it? Did he get in there because maybe he did, maybe he didn't? I think he did not. I think he got it. I think they got that. You get Donald Trump in there, and you got a guy that's shaking hands with the guy that's over there battling, Ukraine,
like Putin.
And all this, and going and shaking hands with Kim Jong Un or whatever. Like it's not
First U.S. sitting president
and
to do so.
And it's not about, oh, look what I did, or even though Donald Trump, it can be made fun of, right? He can, right? Absolutely, yeah. He can. But you can't put it past the fact that the dude did all that stuff. He did that stuff. Yeah. And then when he's over there talking to all these United Nations deal, and he's talking about we are putting in by ourselves as much as you, and all these other countries together. It's bad business.
Ain't happening.
Doesn't make sense. This is what's going to happen. So then you do this. Then you have this 2020 starting out. This might be the best year ever for our homeland. Right?
Yeah.
And for our homeland, for people like that say, not my country, I'm not my president. I don't care who that offends when I say that. When I used to see that on Facebook and all that, whatever, I'm like, fucking internet warrior douchebags.
I know.
You don't love this place? You live here, bro. Like you born and raised here.
Yeah. When you look at your 401k,
right?
Look at the highest employment rate for every demographic, white, black, Hispanic, man, woman. We're all prospering.
So they throw a grenade at them, right? And they throw COVID at them, and which I firmly believe this, and this may be out of whack, right?
Yeah.
I firmly believe that COVID got generated and put in place to get him out, to put him out.
It attacked the main thing that he could focus on,
right?
Was the economy.
So what's the end off? What's the end of his deal, right? The end of his reign.
Yeah.
Is they storm the Capitol. Yeah. And then they say he said to do that, all that, which is ridiculous things to say.
Absolutely.
But again, I've spoken to people that are from New York City that say you don't know what it's like to see Donald Trump and see what he's done to, places, knocking, neighborhoods down. It's like Earl Village in Charlotte. Growing up in Earl.
Did we talk about that at Fourth Ward?
Right.
Did we talk about that on South Tryon that's happening right now?
But we grow up and these things happen, and there's families that are affected from it that we know. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But man, you're talking on a small level. Not a small level like I don't care about these people that are getting kicked out of their homes.
Exactly right. We don't understand.
We're talking about the most powerful country on the planet. Mm-hmm. In the hands of somebody who knows business.
Yeah.
All right, listen. How come in the 90s, in the 2000s, early 2000s, everybody's chilling with Trump, taking pictures with Trump, high level rappers, taking pictures with this guy, right?
Yeah.
This guy's Donald Trump, right? Came up with something that says, "Nah, man, listen, man, this alcohol right here trumps that bottle." Did that come up? Did that come up because Trump's that bottle was before Donald Trump, and that's just a word? No, that came from Donald Trump.
Yeah,
that dude he has some of the most fucking idiotic moments.
Yeah,
right.
Because he's not a polished speaker.
Because he's not a fucking polished speaker.
Yeah,
and he's like, look, man, I'm gonna do it my way. Yeah, I'm not getting paid to do it. And then you got the people that keep on losing the arguments, and they're like, well, yeah, of course, it's easy for him to say he's not getting paid because he's got all this other money. Are you mad at him? Listen, I'm going to jump off this part of it and move on to what you're talking about.
No, that's fine. I like it. You keep going. You're on fire right now.
When I see someone kill it and make crazy money, fellow people that are my age, people that I grew up with, I don't leave their presence and go, oh, man, fuck that dude, man. Fuck it. Why he's not even really that cool growing up with anyway, man.
I didn't really like that guy.
Yeah. You tell me, you see that chick he's with, he could have never got that chick back in the day. Like, dude, I'm the opposite. I'm like, whew, wow, well done. Yeah. What a great job. What a great job.
Exactly right.
Because if you sit there and you harp on everything that you don't have, you will continue to manifest exactly what you don't have.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Somebody very near and dear to me had a very meltdown kind of issue recently. And he couldn't make heads or tails out of anything. Yeah. Life is over. Saying crazy things, saying he's, it's end it all. I'm done. I'm out.
I say.
And he affected the people closest to him to a point of, I'm leaving the house and I'm going to find him.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And I did. Right?
Okay.
And the greatest thing on the planet is to be able to see somebody hit rock bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And then be able to listen to information, be able to vent, be able to do whatever, and just say, man, I'm a fucking loser. I'm nobody. And you're looking like, bro, if you keep saying that, that's exactly what you're gonna be, man. You can't
bring about what you think about.
You can't, man. You can't keep on thinking. I mean, and then you think about these presents, like that Donald Trump has this huge presence, or this guy I'm talking about has this huge presence, and whatever. Sometimes people don't see what's in front of them. They don't even spend time looking in the mirror ever. They're not indulging like that. They don't. Yeah. They're not consumed in everything that's theirs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They don't even look in the mirror, right? They brush their teeth, bounce, because they're looking at everybody else and they want to make everybody else happy. Yeah. And change your mindset, man. You look down. What's up, man? What's wrong with you, man? Let's chill. And they do these things to make people feel better, right? When all along they're sitting there fucking at almost self-destructive mode, like they're almost gone,
or just emptying their tank,
right?
But because they're too busy filling up other people's tanks.
And you have to understand a few things. Like, listen, man, what would happen if you left this planet? The hole that you would leave here, it would never be able to be filled by dirt and a casket and be done.
Yeah.
It would be a black hole, man.
Yeah.
And it's I know we're going around different places here, and we're but I feel more than anything else when it comes to, when we talk about mental health a lot, but when we talk about just the saying changing your mindset. Changing your mindset.
Yeah.
It's that, man. It's hey man, fucking get up and look at yourself and be like, bro, I'm gonna kill it today. I'm gonna figure it out. Shit is not right. I'm gonna figure out how to make it right.
Do you run from the storm,
man,
or do you run through the storm?
Right. That's. Is it cows or buffalo that do that?
Buffalo run to the storm.
They run it so they get right through it.
And they're going to feel it.
They're going to get hit.
It's going to be intense.
But they're going to be on the other side.
A hell of a lot sooner.
A buddy of mine told me the other day, he said, he said, you got to make it through the mud. You got to get through the mud. Sometimes, whatever's going on, it's but when you make it to the other side, when you make it through the mud to the other side, it pays.
Yeah.
It pays, man.
It does.
Right?
Yeah.
It's another thing that he said that I thought was, I think he told me that one of his mentors said, he said, sometimes you got to meet people where they are.
That's beautiful.
So think about that, right? You and I, man, I can't meet, we can't meet in a halfway space.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be unavailable. I'm trying not to be, to be helped. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to fucking come to you.
Yeah. I'm coming to your house right now.
I'm coming to you and I'm going to sort you out. And that's that's what makes the difference between someone who is actively trying to help everybody that they love, and they're trying to give people, not boast or not preach to everybody. And this is what I did. I started working out last week and I do 70 crunches every 5 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
No, just somebody they're like, literally, dude, we have to meet people where they are sometimes. And sometimes you got to do that, and you got to grab them by the arm, or you got to grab them by the shirt and bang their chest a couple times with your fist and say, yo, hey.
Well, and
wake up.
That's the second part of that statement that I wanted to touch on. It's not just saying, hey, okay, I'm trying to get you over here to my house and you're not coming.
Right.
You're making excuses. You're finding ways to get out of it. Okay, I'm coming to your house. It's not just about that physical location. It's also about that mental location.
Meeting them. Yes.
Of saying, hey, listen, you could be in a spot where everything is just rolling for you.
Right.
It's flowing. Right. Everything's great. And then one of your people is in a whole totally different spot.
Yeah.
You have to be able to say, okay, if I start talking about what's going on for me, how am I going to come across?
Right.
I could be looked at as bragging, and I'm not, because I know they support me.
Right.
But they can't support me right now because they're in a goddamn shitstorm.
Right.
You know?
Until they,
You know what I'm saying?
until they open their fucking mouth, you never knew.
You never knew. So you have to kind of take that humble approach of reaching them and finding out on the mental aspect of it, of where you're at right now. Where are you at on the emotional spectrum?
Right.
And I don't feel, and I know we've talked about, talking about like just bros being bros being there for other bros. We don't do that enough as guys in general.
No.
You know what I mean? As far as being there for our fellow bros.
Right.
And I think that's another part of this, that we should probably talk about. But,
Phil, let's get some ice in here. Let's go for the
you
second
ready?
one. You all right with that?
So Albert Einstein talked about World War III, World War IV. So I got a little bit of a different approach talking about mindsets. My mindset, honestly, is that World War III has been fought since about the 60s. Now, with all right, I got you, Sean. I got you, dude.
Shout out to Sean. Sean got here before the sun went down, and it was all our fault because the information wasn't put out there concrete. So he does get a win and a pass.
He gets a pass. So my mindset is this.
I'm going to tell you what your mindset is before this shit right here. No, yeah, I want lots of ice, but this thing, we got to do something better.
It's working.
Okay.
Did it just not happen?
It's 15 minutes later.
That was the best transition of ice.
Sean has a mustache now. He did not have a mustache before you started doing that.
Yeah, well,
But he also did have like 3 hours to grow that mustache before he got here on time.
You're a hater. Change your mindset.
Come on.
All right. So, in 1 and 2 and 3.
Yes.
And 1 and 2 and 3.
I will take it, mate.
Do your thing. All right, here you go, Sean.
Drink it in. It always goes down smooth.
Every time. So, with the whole change in your mindset thing and talking about our buddy Einstein, I believe that World War III has been fought. I think after World War II, which you're talking about and we're not going to get into history. I'm not going to go down that road, but that was one of those wars where we could have lost that.
Right.
It could have been the end of the world as we know it, as far as the Western thought process being in control. So I feel like they realized, hey man, we're never taking America over. Oh, we're not going to do it. They're going to be the power going.
They're
forward.
always going to be.
It's me, your president, your commander-in-chief of the world.
I mean, that's it. So what do you do? And you got to realize that, while we're out here working and living and doing all the other things, the people who are in control, the people who are in power, they're playing all these games behind the scenes.
And they always will.
It'll never change. It's all about what you're about, right? So, what they're about's their everything. What you're about's your everything. So, as a manager, you're dealing with a lot of different problems. You're solving different issues. You're thinking on a whole different thought process than somebody who's an entry-level person.
Sure.
Right? And once that entry-level person grows and expands, then they start dealing with the issues that you deal with, right? So you all grow. So I believe, honestly, that World War III has been fought since about the 50s or 60s in America, and it's the war. And the war is the attack on the American nuclear family.
Right. Okay.
I mean, that's where I'm at. And you look at it, I mean, you look at it from the very aspect, and I like, hey, this is a discussion point that I don't necessarily think yes, no, or indifferent, but I believe the first start of that was taking women out of the home.
Right.
And putting them in the workforce.
Right.
And separating the man from woman, taking the time away, separating the woman away from the kids. Mm-hmm. You think about it, right? You hold your grandparents in a high reverence. Would that be an accurate statement?
Accurate as you could get.
So my dad's mom and dad, my grandparents, are, as far as my family, two of the people I respect the most on this planet, and both of them, are in heaven. God rest their souls.
God rest.
But you're talking about a couple that celebrated 60 years of marriage. And they actually
work.
Yeah, that's right. Of work. And they actually celebrated their 60th anniversary in the hospital together on different floors as they were battling different things before my grandma passed.
Right.
And, you know, and shout outs to grannies worldwide. Now, listen, I don't believe, I feel like there's only 2% of grandmas out there that can earn the title of granny.
Yeah.
You can't be above 5'2".
No.
You know what I mean? There's no 5'8" granny. I'm sorry.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's a false title. But, you know, my grandpa, who was Presidential Award winner in the military and works for the FAA, you know, ran a golf course. You know, you'd love this dude. I only heard him raise his voice one time.
Right.
You know what I mean? In my life, and I shut the heck up and listened.
Right. Right.
Now he would say, Granny, she runs this house. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I do what she tells me to do. Now you're talking about the breadwinner, a presidential award winner,
and you're talking about somebody that came up in the days where men were just
men.
Facts. Well, but men's were always above the woman in the
absolutely. Yeah. In the public eye.
But behind the scenes, it's always been the same.
That's right. And there's a lot of people who have that, you know, undergoing. And my granny, who was 9th grade education, but would watch Jeopardy and answer questions,
right.
Ran the household, took care, you know, raised 2 boys, put them both in college, and,
right.
you know, and this and that. And she would say, well, hey, man, grandpa's the rock. You know, grandpa goes out and provides. Grandpa
right.
goes out and does this. I handle this. So it wasn't a subservient thing.
Right.
And I don't think it ever should
kinda,
be. Yeah, exactly. I don't think it ever should be. It's all about the combination of husband, wife, raising the family and stuff like that. But when you started taking women out of the household, now you look at it today.
Are you saying it like they should never have been able to go out and work?
No, I'm not.
Because some people would.
I know.
It's a very slippery slope.
I know.
Right?
This is where the whole talking point goes in, because that was the start of it.
Right.
Because here's the thing. Say husband and wife, right? You and your wife. Y'all are arguing. Let's just say y'all are arguing or having.
We don't argue.
Well, let's just say you're having a disagreement on something that you saw on television.
Okay.
Something you saw on the news.
Come on.
Right? And you were arguing in the living room over the program you're watching. Who's guarding the refrigerator? If you're arguing, hey, think about it in context.
Guarding the refrigerator?
Yeah. I mean, who's watching the fridge and taking food out of the fridge? Nobody. Hey, listen. Hey, stay with me. Stay with me.
I fell out there.
Stay with me.
Right.
If you and say you and the wife are having a disagreement about bills that need to be paid, and she's working and you're working,
and that's a common argument in today's world.
Right? She's mad at 2 people at work because of this and that. You're mad because you're a manager and you have 6 employees that aren't doing this, and you've lost 2 employees and you're trying to fill that spots. And your kids are at school and they come home and they need help with the homework and they got all these things that they're battling. If you guys are preoccupied with everything that you got going on, who's there for the kids?
I get it. I understand.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the same principle.
Right.
But it's divide and conquer.
It is. But it, you know, the way the world is now is the world is different. The world is, and I get what you're saying. You were talking about, in retrospect, they got taken out of the home, right? They got separated to go and work. You know, I couldn't imagine my wife not having a job, even though there was one moment we were in a place, really good place, and she just was like, kind of like, she didn't have to work. Mm-hmm. And it was cool for a little while. And it might be cool for other folks out there in the world, whatever. It was cool for a little while. But when things went in disarray a little bit and you know, we needed the extra money, she went back to work, and it sounded like she was out of work for so long that she didn't, you know, she was like this Orange County housewife.
Yeah.
She's an earner. She's legitimately an earner. She's a hard worker. I'm sure there's tons of other gals out there like this, but she's an earner, and it gives her, I see it give her purpose where it's like, all right, I got to get $2,500 in the next 2 weeks so I can pay for this and that are coming up with the kids. And I'm like,
which goes, see, this is what I'm saying though.
Right.
It goes more into the concept of, do we really need this?
Right.
Do we really need that? You know.
Then she goes and she does it. Mm-hmm. And it happens every time. And it blows my mind every time it happens. I'm like, God, she put a number on it. a number,
Put a focus on a goal.
and put a focus on a goal and
did
achieved it.
Yeah.
Now, we couldn't have done it otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
We couldn't have done it otherwise. The end result would have been, sorry, can't get you this, or can't get whatever. Yeah. And so I think it's such a positive and a very, very big presence for women to contribute and to go out there and be powerful. I love seeing powerful women in places that contribute to the working class people, right? That help the working class people. Not Kamala Harris, hey, so why did you want to become vice president? And she sat there for a second. She said, power. Oof. Are you serious? Like that? Like, and guess what? She's fucking dead ass balls on that. That's what she wanted. That's the kind of woman. That's the kind of woman that I look at the same way as I look at a dude that I think's a giant bag of douche. Yeah, you're useless to me. You're everything that you want comes with entitlement. Everything that you want has to have title. Yeah. Here's something that it's a little off the beaten path, but it makes sense. There's a guy that Jeremy Allison told me about. This guy owns several businesses, and Jeremy worked with him in one of his businesses. Okay. Their kids played on the same baseball team. Okay. Somebody was like, hey, how do you guys know each other? And this gentleman goes, oh, we work together. Jeremy called me and was like, dude, I was like right away, I was gonna be like, yeah, it's my boss. Or it's my, whatever. Yeah. But he said we work together. Yeah. Changed that mindset. That changed Jeremy's mindset of being like, wow, like, man, I want to work for this. I'm glad I work for this dude.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He could have used that to maybe put me on a lower path, lower, spot on the ladder.
Yeah, he works for me. Yeah. I hate, I'm telling you, people that are business owners out there, I am very proud of you for your accomplishments. But one of the worst things that I hear that I think just sound like garbage are my employees, my whipping, I don't like it. It's like, man, but
you have an opportunity right there to.
So go back to it with the women
Well, and this is kind of a long road, and I was gonna try to keep it as short as possible.
Let's go.
But what I wanted to talk about with that is not that women shouldn't be allowed to work,
because that's exactly what they're going to say when they hear this.
Some people could. Some people could, if that's what you're going to jump to. Now, if you want to actually dive in and keep your mind open, this is a whole different topic. You go back to that part in life. Okay. One income household was the typical. They could afford a place to live, a new car, stuff for the kids.
Cars cost $10,000 for brand new cars.
Everything's relative. They didn't make as much as we did now. No. Everything is relative. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean, bread cost 78 cents or whatever, but but they were making $23,000 a year. You know what I mean? So life has changed, but so is the inflation,
but never more so than it is now.
But you talk about the happiness level. You talk about the nuclear family of husband, wife, kid put together, the dynamics of the family. We had so much more of those things than what we have now. What? And what I'm saying is that everything that's been instituted and put into life of we know it now was designed for a reason. The women were taken out of the home. Then you had contraceptives being added to where people could be more promiscuous. Right. People who are more promiscuous aren't going back to the nuclear home per se. Right. You had civil rights we had to deal with, which is a good thing, right?
For sure.
Because nobody needs to be a lower class.
Get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Get it.
But all of these things also cause conflict. Right? Because when you think about it, you think about the civil rights era, right? Huge, massive. Our parents dealt with that. How do you think pundits would spin civil rights now? Right. You'd have one group saying, "Oh, it's horrible. Those people don't deserve this," and then the other had we deserve everything, and those people are racist. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to tell you something that a dude told me one time. I've told you this before, but I want to say it because it was fucking sharp, right? and we're talking about racism, and we're talking about just how shitty it is. And this is a black gentleman I'm talking to, very, very awesome human, very smart dude. And I said, when do you think like racism, like when can we get rid of this just fucking bullshit that we keep on regurgitating and regurgitating?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, we got to wait for all the old white people to die.
Wow.
Now listen.
Wow.
Not like die, like let's go kill them all.
Yeah.
When you get rid of that era of people that came from an era that we don't know at all.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And when he said it, he didn't say it with a smirk on his face. He was rather
He believed that.
he was rather like final with it. He was like, yeah, you just wait for all the old white people to die and then we move on. So I sat there and I thought about it for a long time. I thought about it. And every time I saw him, we bring it up and talk about it.
Yeah.
What is more effective of changing your mindset than that? Than Morgan Freeman, the Jewish guy was interviewing him. Said what about February? What about the racism and that? And Morgan Freeman was just like, stop talking about it.
Yeah.
You wanted to? He was like, I don't want Black History Month. He was like, American history is Black history. He was he's correct. It's 1,000%.
100% sure.
So, and then he said, what month do you want? Huh? You want a month? What month do you want? We'll call it American History. And he was like, oh, I'm Jewish. And he was like, okay, we'll call it Jewish History Month.
Yeah.
Again, stop fucking talking about it. I've gotten in more arguments that post argument. I'm like, man, I didn't listen. I wasn't listening. I don't, you can't feel bad about shit that you didn't go through. You can't feel bad. You can assume.
You can sympathize,
but you can't feel bad like, man, when I was there, right?
Yeah.
But your grandmother, your mother, some of these people, mother and father, your grandparent, they went through it. So in turn, you did go through it. You have this, you grew up in this lineage.
Kind of that compressed
You
DNA.
grew up in this lineage that has that with it. Yeah. Whereas we grew up with a lineage that was on the other side of it.
Yeah.
What happened with us, we grew up in a place that didn't accept it. It wasn't, I'll be honest, and I don't give a shit how this sounds.
Yeah.
You live in Charlotte, North Carolina. You live in the cities and neighborhoods of Charlotte, North Carolina.
It's a melting pot, yeah.
Right? And then you live in Wadesboro, or you live in some country bumpkin. No offense to you folks.
Yeah. 3 Hills past Missouri.
Right. Yeah. Where it's just a bunch of fucking, country white bumpkin.
Yeah.
They got a tendency to say some things that man, you just can't say that around here.
Nah.
You know what? I'm gonna take offense to it because you sound stupid. You're making me look stupid because you're another white.
Yeah.
And I don't dig that.
It's the same thing. If we heard that, we would cringe.
Now change your mindset. So you want to change the mindset of people that have never been around any of this fucking culture, that don't understand hippity hoppity music or whatever kind of stupid shit they say. I take offense to that because I'm an MC and I'm better than you and everybody you know.
Yeah.
Right? Even though I never made it. I want this to be a moment where everybody does go back and look at the albums I did. I love them. But
change your mindset. Listen to the music.
Your mentality is, all right, take that mentality of a city kid and then take the mentality of a fucking country bumpkin kid and say racism.
Yeah.
One side of it is going to think this way. The other side of it, they're programmed to think it's okay.
No, but that's the thing, though. I think if you are one of those who buys in, regardless of whatever you're listening, so we're in a capitalist society, right? Capitalism means it's supply and demand. If you're living out in BFE, Missouri, where it's 98% white in that city that you're living in, what news stations are going to talk about is going to be dictated by the public that's going to be watching and supporting that broadcast. Right. It's the same thing if you're living in Chicago and urban, where they're saying that there's no problem with black crime and it's black crime in Chicago is freaking horrible. It's where I went to school in Stanley County for a couple of years when I was a younger kid, and I got jumped because I played basketball with the one black female on the varsity team in a K through 8 school, and I was out there helping get her rebounds and playing with her because I love to ball.
Right.
I didn't care about white, black. I grew up in fucking Charlotte. You know what I mean? We had white, black, Persian, we had Hispanic. We had everything. And then
shout out to the underground celebrities.
And so, and so I go back to Charlotte for schools in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, and I go to Druid Hills, Dreaded Hall. Shout out overall 30th
Let's
in Lucina, and I'm sitting there getting in fights because I'm a white dude.
Yeah,
it's like, man, you didn't see what I was doing.
Yeah, you pull up in it, and you know the romanticizing about things and cultures and things that I find so amusing with people, right? And I find it more amusing with white people than I do with anybody else, because there's these groups of people that have this chip on their shoulder, and you know what I'm saying, like, you know, and they talk like this, you know what I'm saying, da da da, and then somebody else will walk up and they're like, yeah, you know, I had a great basketball game, and then another dude walks up and they're like, yeah, you know, and it's like that line in The Departed where Mark Wahlberg's like, you got two different accents,
you're
two different people.
But I think that honestly, it goes back to one statistic I heard that 70% of Americans don't leave within 100 miles of where they were born.
Facts.
Think about that for a second. What I've always told my kids: how can you understand the world if you've never seen it?
Period.
Travel. If you go to certain countries, if you go to certain other areas of the country, of our country, or just have communication with people who aren't your identical, what you see in the mirror, you realize there's so much more that brings us together than tears us apart.
Facts.
But we're in a society that's programmed you to be what you are. So, so continuing down that road, the feminist movement, civil rights, taking the woman out of the household, you know what I mean? Now, all the stuff about, giving contraceptives, and then changing laws, affirmative action, all of these things that, and I can't remember if it was like a Denzel, it was a black celebrity who was talking about how affirmative action was horrible for the black community. Why are you going to lower the bar? Do you know how insulting that is?
Wow.
It's the same thing I think about when you have a rich white yuppie from South Park. I'm not going to say Dilworth because I like the people in Dilworth, but you're like in the Ballantyne area and stuff like that, who are like, Black Lives Matter. And, do you not understand that these people they use words like these people, and they say that they're like a proponent, and they're a fact. They're yelling for that group, but these people, realize that these people can't get a fair shake, and it's like, whole player,
get the fuck out of here,
whole player.
Dude,
you know what I mean? There's so many people in every community that have so much talent and can do so many good things. They have to make the choice. They have to get some opportunities. They have to get some breaks.
Right.
But all of that, for the most part, is self-made.
It's all self-made, man. Let me tell you something, man. Joe Rogan said it on his podcast about people that complain about not getting enough breaks or getting and most of the people that complain and do that are sitting on their fat ass. Like, they don't do anything. Like, you don't want to do anything but complain about everything.
When we were talking about with Evan earlier, what did I say? It's walk in faith. It's not sit on the couch in faith.
No, man.
You have to be out there progressing towards what you want to get to.
Everything,
or where you want to get to.
Everything great derives from something difficult. Everything great it is absolutely manifested for something that's difficult
and
hard to walk on.
And not any part of this we said was going to be easy.
And the other thing of it is, so many people, more than not, probably get to great.
Yeah,
they get to it. They're in the door. They got everything.
Yeah,
and then they make stupid decisions, and then they go right back. It's like the guy that did a 10-year bid. And he's like, "Whoa, changed my life, changed blah, blah, blah." And he gets out, and then he's fucking robs somebody and goes right back in, and then he does a 2-year bid, and then when he's leaving, the prison guard is like, all right, man, we'll see you soon, buddy. Right? It's the same difference of some of these people that make these tremendous strides to make so much money and so much crazy shit happen.
Yeah.
That they don't, they're not like, man, when you get to that point where you're up here and money is not an issue, right? But you still got to have the hunger of the guy that had to work to get that money. You got to keep that hunger. You got to keep that drive. You got to keep that wherewithal to know that, like, look, if I don't get up and show up at work and get there when everybody else does, and if I don't stay there and do what I got to do, close the doors, turn the lights off after everybody leaves, man, you're not really a leader, man. You're just somebody that shows up, makes a paycheck, and bounces. And look, man, kudos to some of the people that make that work for their life. Yeah. Somebody said, it's fucking biggest douchebag I ever met in my life that got put in the workplace with me that kind of ruined his face when he said this. He said, you got to interview well. He did this face, knocks on the, you got to know how to interview well. Because I looked at him and I said, you said something that's false because I looked it up. And you said you had the #1 customer service scores out of all Nissan stores in the entire country. Yeah. And you didn't. Yeah. And he was like, well, this is where you're missing the point. We did for one day. For one day, we were #1. So took a screenshot.
Technically, I wasn't wrong.
And you're looking at this guy, and you're like, and you just got to interview well.
It's how you spin the narrative.
And I would feel a little bit different right now, or maybe less salty, if the son of a bitch was still there. But he didn't last 3 months. Yeah. Right.
So the proof came out. The truth came out.
All right. So spinning off all this stuff, because I know we're going to do the parting shot in a minute, and I want you to do the parting shot. Okay. I don't know what you're going to do it about. Okay. I'm happy about it.
So I'm just going
to. Right. I think for me, when Jason Bridwell says, all right, Jimmy, changing the mindset, what's it mean to you? Mm-hmm. Changing my mindset could be something as simple as, man, I'm going to stop eating fucking fast food for a week. Change my mindset, not let it take me up. Change my mindset. You know what? Instead of going to sleep at 11:30 every night and having terrible sleep, blah blah blah, I'm gonna go to sleep at like 9. Yeah, get some better sleep. Right. Yeah. Take this the some of the information that you get and actually put it into fruition. Right. Yeah. It could be something as small as that can change something. My question to you is, when you think about changing the mindset and you have to help that person change their mindset, but it's up to you to give them a little bit of some push. Yeah. And let's just say for conversation's sake, it's about growth in your business life and what you're doing. Okay. What kind of jewels can you give somebody to help them change whatever they need to change that may help them progress and propel them up to the next level?
All right, so I think I'm going to take that into the parting shot then, because that's part of the whole aspect of this. Okay, it's
so we're going in the parting shot right now.
Yeah. Right, so this is going to be a little bit of a long one, so bear with me on this one. So this is you can't solve a problem until you first recognize that there is a problem.
Do you recognize there is a problem?
And then what exactly is the problem?
Correct.
Right? So you're talking about a world that we live in right now where, and let's just take the American nuclear family, husband, wife, 2.5 kids. Okay. You have husband and wife working. You have one of them going to the grocery store where they're reading a magazine article that says that they're fat and that they don't have cool clothes and that they're ugly and that or the man doesn't have enough money and he doesn't make enough money and he's not as successful. He's not a good parent. Or here's how you be a good parent. Right. Or like, hey, you need to slim down 2 dress sizes and your man doesn't appreciate you. So blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Or it doesn't matter if you're 100 pounds overweight, you're still beautiful. And, your man doesn't support you and doesn't recognize you. And he's not cool enough. So go find the cool man. And the man's reading, here's 20 steps on how to be cool. You know what I mean? So it's birds of the same feather.
Right.
And all they're doing in every aspect of your life right now, from the news, from what you see, from what you eat, you know what I mean? From the amount of stress you have, to the lack of free time, to the lack of time you have to do anything like read a book. You don't even have time to read a book, but you got time to watch 10 minutes of news.
Come on.
You got time to watch 10 minutes of The Bachelorette or some stupid ass shit like that that's not going to give you anything worth a damn to make your life better. Right? So all of this, I wanted to briefly, when even college now, where we have kids who are in college or kids going to college. What have you heard them talk about college over the last decade? An institution of higher learning. That's what they say to colleges nowadays. What do you think about when you think about an institution?
Trapped. Money.
Okay. Mental institution.
Oof. Okay.
Handouts of medication. Here's your fruit cup.
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock. Hey, Jimmy.
Trapping.
Hey, Jimmy, it's 3 o'clock. We're going to finger paint now. Hey, it's 5 o'clock. It's time for your nighttime meds. An institution of higher learning. You're talking about everything they feed us, everything they give us, everything they show us, everything they teach us. It's all
programming. Part
of the programming to make you fat, lazy, and stupid. They don't want a public.
Preach.
They don't want a public that has rational and constructive thought. They don't want people who can solve problems.
They don't truly want you to be woke.
That's right. They don't want you to be free. They want you to be dependent, because the same people who cause the disease hold the cure. You know what I mean?
Yo, say that again.
The same people who cause the disease control the cure.
Oof, that is heavy.
And
That's
they make
heavy.
money, and they make money on both sides of it.
They got money.
The money's in the treatment, not the cure. They're not going to tell you how to cure the disease because the money's in the treatment.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Big pharma.
So
I got to tell you something. This is one of the best parting shots that we've had yet.
Hold on.
Oh, no.
Oh, there's more. Just wait.
Oh, no.
I hadn't even started the parting shot. So let me give you the parting shot. If you're listening to this right now or watching, I want you to just close your eyes. I want you to listen to this real quick. Your kids, they're coming after them. This is what they want you. They got you. Now they're coming after your kids. They want you to have zero identity. They want to force you into a small group so you can never unite with your fellow person. Doesn't matter what color they are. Doesn't matter what religion they are. Doesn't matter how much money they make. They never want you to identify with anybody else. They want you to stay in your own little segregated group. They feed you bullshit. Everything that you're eating now that you choose to go
Shit
out
sandwiches.
there. That's why a salad's $8, but you can get $1 McDouble. They show you tragedy and nothing but tragedy on the news. So when you come home, even if you had a good day, you turn on the 6 o'clock news, and in 5 to 10 minutes, it's murder, death, rape, kill, everything. It's negativity. They overcome you with stress and constant notifications. You can't even get away from things because it's notification, bings. They modify the food and make it void of nutrition. So what you're eating is not even filling your soul and spirit. It's providing energy for you to go back and tap the feeder bar. You know what I mean? They've moved nature further away. They've moved nature further away from you to where all you see is streets and buildings and signs and notifications and electromagnetism that continues to fuck up your mental, emotional, and spiritual state. They've poisoned the air and the water. to where what you're seeing and breathing and drinking, who would have thought 50 years ago? Go ask your grandparents if they thought they'd pay $3 for a bottle of water. I'll let that simmer. They broadcast their life or your life on social media for everybody out there to judge. That affects every aspect of you, and you continue to feed the same
mental
machine.
Health.
That's right. They shame you for everything. They shame you for your beliefs. They shame you because you're white. They shame you because you're a woman. They shame you because you're overweight. They shame you because you have 3 kids and not married. They shame you for not having kids and never being married at 38 years old. It doesn't matter. They are killing you slowly.
And they're killing our babies.
That's right. They're overtaxing you. They're taxing your taxes. They're over medicating you because you need to lose a few pounds, or you need to lower your blood pressure. But you need to lower your blood pressure because of the shit that you're eating. Because you need to lose a little bit of weight, and because of the stress that you're bringing on yourself, but because of the way you're doing it. They're, at the end of the day, they're dissolving the American spirit, and this is all started way back when, because the one main thing that I equate all of this to is they've taken God out of everything.
Wow. They have.
That's right. So let me spin it. Hold on. I got my flow now. Let me spin it. Here's ways we can disconnect. Get fucking rid of any app on your phone that shows you news.
Right.
Pay attention to a certain extent. Do not watch your local news anymore. Analyze what you're eating. Analyze what you're feeding your kids. If you can take the time to have a meal, get rid of the cell phones, put them to the side, have a meal with your kids so you can have those conversations with your kids. It's important. They are battling some very real issues right now as young people in America today. They need attention. Exercise. Go get a little bit of exercise. Now, one of my good customers, but also has become a friend and a brother, he said, listen, your health physically is 80% what you eat, 20% the gym.
Right.
It's not the other way around.
Right.
You don't need a lot of gym time. You
don't have to be a gym rat to get it.
If you were bringing in nutritious foods, you know what I mean? If you were bringing in water is most of your diet.
What your body
soda.
needs.
Exactly. We're 75% water. The world's 75% water. Your body needs to be a lot water. Nature. Go out and have you ever noticed a clear...
Demagnetize.
Love it. Demagnetize. Travel. Go see other places. Go see other people. You know, I remember being in Mexico and seeing the kids there catching the bus in their best outfit, coming from houses with thatched walls.
Right. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
They don't live in the best of houses, but they had the right mentality. I'm going to go and I'm going to look my best at school. I'm going to be prepared for a good day, and I'm going to get the heck out of here and maybe bring back some good for the community.
Bring some milk back.
Make memories. More time with your loved ones. I love what you do with Saturday and Sundays being your family day or date night. Super important. It doesn't matter if you've been dating for 1 day, 1 week, or 23 years. You know, go do it. Spirituality. I'm not going to preach Christianity. That's my belief. But I tell you what, yoga and meditation. Yoga and meditation. Hey, I mean, I can't settle myself enough, I think, to do meditation. But that's what I've told myself.
Right.
Maybe I can. Maybe I need to change my mindset. But that adds to the overall spirituality. Right. They all coincide. Man, it's like Science of the Mind was a great book by Ernest Holmes, written by a Christian scientist. Some people are like, hey, man, I believe in Christianity. Some people are like,
I believe in science.
I believe in science.
The Christian scientist?
Hey, listen.
It's like an oxymoron.
Listen, who the fuck invented science? Who created the things for you to study for there to be a science? Maybe God. You know, hey, it's just like early bird catches the worm, right? We've all heard it.
Right.
I'm going after the bird. It's a bigger meal, baby. It's a bigger meal. Hey, you learn something new every day. Learn too. Right. Stay ahead of the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? You are what you think about. You bring about what you think about.
God bless.
I'm fucking signing off. God dang mic drop.
Hey, I'm gonna say this, man. I'm gonna say that it's been over 20 years. Conversations have always been maximized. They've always been full of information. I'm yet again very, very proud of you and what you've accomplished, but just furthermore what you just said. People need to hear that. People need to gravitates towards something that's going to help them build, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you that what you just did right there for me gets me to just say I want to cheers with you right now. And I want to say that if there's anything that anybody could do right now off of what you just said, is take that information piece by piece, like building blocks that you could build a shelter on. And that shelter is to make sure that you can go inside of it and feel safe and understand that there is a way out of any kind of trouble. There's a way out of any kind of bad place. There's
Absolutely.
always an answer to whatever question that you have. It doesn't matter how fucking messed up things are. Shit is messed up. Life is messed up.
And we're all there.
We're all there.
We're
always.
all battling it.
Always.
You know what I mean? You're not alone.
My favorite shit, I wrote this the other day. I said, birds of a feather flock together. Mines are flying over your houses is shitting on your shelter. Now, when I said that, I'm not trying to shit on everybody's place. But what I'm saying is, look, man, we fly high, man. Like we're going. We're going, man, and I don't have 15 friends that are going. I got 3, 4. We're going, and we're gonna go, and man, we might shit on your shelter, man. You better either put a roof on that joint, or maybe flock up with your own people and get up there and get to the high places.
But that's the big part, though. It's like you can find these answers.
They're there.
It's there. You have to disconnect from the vacuum that you are constantly in and explore and expand your mind.
Right. It's an ability that not everybody has, but we're going to end it off on that. We're going to end it on a cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Next Level Venture Group.
All day.
Two Poor Podcast. Charlotte, North Carolina.
That's right.
704.
Share it. Love it.
Absolutely. For 1,000 times over, make sure that you are supporting your local businesses. There are people that don't do it and they don't understand why it doesn't make any sense. Well, it doesn't make any sense because you guys aren't spending any. That's right. Go in there, buy a sandwich from a guy that's got a restaurant he's putting out. Go buy some clothes from somebody that's trying to put out a clothing line. Go out there and help somebody and get insurance through somebody that's doing their own insurance firm. Be a part of your community. Don't just live in that shit.
And you can do that by disconnecting from the local media that brainwashes you into shopping at places like JCPenney's or Kohl's or Target or McDonald's. Stop supporting. That's the fucking evil that's brainwashing all of them. Go to your local produce stand. Eat a fucking normal apple from a produce stand that a farmer grew 5 miles away from you. Stop buying this processed bullshit.
Processed bullshit. Hey, peace, love, happiness, wealth, health. Boom. Two Poor Podcast. YouTube.com. Spotify.
That's it. Spotify.
And the first person to share, and shout out with the hashtag
Two Poor Podcast.
No. To do the hashtag change your mindset. We're going to send y'all a $100 bottle of Booker's. You with it?
I'm with it.
You okay with that?
Fuck it. Let's do it.
Come on.
And some Two Poor Podcast stickers.
Oh, we got stickers. We're official like a referee with a whistle. Come on.
Do it. First person.
Let's go. All right, man. Hey.